The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And what is going on, everybody? This is Dan French, the French Workbench Podcast here on a Saturday morning. Welcome in. I'm your host, Dan French, streaming live from Las Vegas. This is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs happening here in Las Vegas. And I have my co-host with me, the one and only, Brett Jenny. Mr. BJ, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Just glad to be on the best podcast in Las Vegas.
All right. Well, we're the up-and-coming podcast. So
deep insight. The
deep
truth
insight.
you won't hear anywhere else.
All right. We're going to talk a lot about different topics today. It's not going to be the traditional real estate financing type of show today. We're going to talk a little bit and delve into a bit of that. But we're also going to talk about what's going on in the crypto space and wash trading. We're going to talk about that. Brett's going to give me his opinion. I'm going to tell you my opinion on it. And then also we're going to talk about inflation and the numbers, stagnant inflation still happening, and the pros and cons. Brett thinks this is a good thing. I'm going to counter that and tell him it's not really something that people should look at as a good thing. So first off, though, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to talk a lot about what's happening in Las Vegas and local news. And Brett has an article you want to bring up. Go ahead, Brett.
So we kind of discussed a little bit before. It's the article. It says, in Las Vegas Review Journal, Louisiana woman alleges MGM shortchanges slot machine players. So what's that about, Dan? They're basically talking about the kiosks and the ATMs. Is it something like that, or what's happening with that?
Yeah, so basically what's happening is, and I want to just kind of get started on this.
Because I started reading the article and I said, what's this about? And you said,
So,
I know all about it.
From my understanding, what it's about is people would go and gamble on slot machines. And what MGM would do is when they would take it to the cage as you go and you check in,
so you
cash out.
You basically, okay, so you win. So you don't get the actual money that comes out of the slot machine? You get a ticket or what?
Yeah, you don't get the money. So you do get the money.
I don't gamble, so I don't.
You get the money.
Yeah, okay.
You do get the money. What it is that when somebody actually goes and they say, okay, I'm going to put money into a slot machine.
So if you win a huge jackpot,
well,
obviously.
not even a jackpot. Let's say if I cashed out $5.
Okay.
But it was $5.37
that you won.
that I won. They would actually give you back just $5
And keep the 37
and keep
cents.
the 37 cents. Now, this happened numerous times, and they're saying that there's upwards of millions of dollars at this point because it was continuously happening. That's what they're saying.
So is this something that happens with every single time that someone goes up there, or is this just started happening more? It's something that kind of happened once in a while? Like, I don't know. What's the normal course on it?
So the lady, I think, what was the city or the state she was in that you saw?
Louisiana.
So the lady in Louisiana, I think, brought it to the attention, and it's a class action lawsuit now going against MGM. And what MGM was doing is there's been numerous times where people just overlooked it. They didn't care about the change.
So it's a policy MGM's always done. She's just saying this is a policy that's not legal. You shouldn't be able to keep the extra change.
It's not legal though. They're not. It's not a policy that MGM.
Gotcha.
It's one of the things. Almost like it was just like, hey, nobody really wants to change. And I'm not saying everybody didn't get their change back, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that just said whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're getting into that where they get a class action lawsuit, but there must have been enough people that were
there
complaining.
are. That's real simple. If it affects enough people, everyone can join in on it, and it's proof that this has happened multiple times, which would give credence to the claim of, say, millions of dollars for the casino that they're keeping. That's other people's money.
Yeah, it's just, imagine this. Like,
it's Vegas.
It's Vegas.
I mean, if they can find an angle, dude, they'll get it.
Well, and I think too, it's like, you're gambling, you're drinking, right?
Yeah,
and
of course.
Let's say you're in that world, that atmosphere. Yeah. There's no clocks in MGM or any of the casinos. You don't know what time it is. you probably don't even know if you won or lost sometimes because you're drunk or you're
Well,
drinking.
it's the
You're
same
having
thing
a
when
good
everybody
time.
comes here and says, "Man, I got free drinks." Well,
You don't even know if you're up or not is what
bro,
I'm saying, you know?
trust me, they know what they're doing, giving you free drinks.
So you get free drinks. I mean, and look, I'm not saying that everything happened there because we're not going to come on record
Yeah.
and say that MGM was doing this to everybody. It's just in the news, and it's shocking.
Well-
now the other thing too is this the only casino doing it? I mean,
Probably not.
You know what I mean? And then
Probably
is
not.
this going to be a chain of, okay, now we're going to see, Caesar's Palace
Well-
and Palazzo, and I'm not saying that they're doing it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's in the news.
First of all, there's not too many other places like Las Vegas. As far as the businesses that are allowed on the Strip, aren't allowed, especially in the numbers in any other places. Like I'm from the Midwest, the only people that have casinos there are the Indian tribes. They get, but out here it's all over the Strip.
Right.
So it's not like you can. It's a single venture as far as you're kind of the only space that's doing this.
Right.
So you're going to get away with, I'm sure, a lot of different things until you can't anymore. Right?
Right.
And it's not like this had multiple opportunities in other areas to come up. Because no other place allows kind of the business of casinos like Las Vegas does. So to say this, are other casinos doing this? Probably. And there's
I'm sure of
probably
it.
a bunch of other little things like this
I'm sure
that
of
they're
it.
doing as well. And will continue to do so until called out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah, Vegas is definitely.
We
it's
push the edge, man.
We push the
We're
edge,
creative.
for sure. I mean, we push the edge.
We're creative hustlers here.
We definitely push the edge. I think a lot of times too, you look at where we're, when you look at Las Vegas and how a lot of people come here, they gamble, and they're looking to spend, and maybe it's not a big deal, but I think Vegas too is really, you see, like with the football and everything, it's thriving right now. You see a lot of tourism down on the Strip.
I mean,
so.
listen, everybody, it's like you said though, right? It's the perception everybody has coming into Vegas. They know they're coming to Las Vegas to have a good time.
Right.
So they know they're going to blow money that they don't need to be spending.
Right.
That is just stupid, frivolous money to have fun. It's not paying any bills. It's at whatever it is. So they've already given up that concession of coming here. So they're probably not in the frugal state of mind coming here to Las Vegas. They're coming here in the party state of mind.
Exactly.
So already there, they've got you on your frame of mind coming into this town. So.
All right, so let's talk a lot about, we're going to move on and segue to crypto. And this is an option that Brett, or not just an option, but Brett really likes to talk about the options.
I just think people
for
should know
crypto.
about.
Right,
You
and you're passionate about it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the news, which is wash trading. And so in the news that's come out, what's happened is they're saying that 50% of the people in the crypto space is wash trading because it's not regulated.
So explain to people what wash trading is.
All right, so wash trading is a situation where you're owner of X amount of crypto. You have a lot of crypto. You have a large amount, and you're trading it to increase the value of what your crypto is worth. And so when you wash trade it, it's almost like propping up your crypto. And that's what 50% of the people are doing that own a large space of crypto or cryptocurrency.
So they're basically propping it up to take their profit and then selling it off right away. And that's
100%.
And they're the ones that are making it go up just to sell it, to start it all over again and so forth. Correct?
Yeah. And so this is
You're washing out the trades with
you're
each other.
washing out the trades.
Yeah.
So what it comes down to is this: is cryptocurrency actually a valuable commodity? Is it something that you believe in? If you're a person out there now where you saw it at its peak, it's not regulated. Now you have, there's a track history with looking at crypto, because when they trade it, they have a way to track it, right? What is it? How do they track the crypto when they actually make a transaction? Do you know?
Well, just the history of the transactions that have gone on the exchanges. What do you mean? You can see.
Yeah, but if there's a digital imprint. What's the digital imprint? Blockchain. So that's what I was trying to bring to your attention. I wanted you to bring into it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know you.
I'm like, well, what? Yeah. So here's
Talk about that.
So we were talking about this earlier. That wash trading, yes, that exists in crypto very much so. In fact, how many times in the past for the podcast that we've spoke, and I said, I'm the worst trader in the world when it comes to crypto. You need to buy it at what you think is a low price and then hold on to it. Because if you and I even posted this on my Facebook account 2 days ago. I said, if you're trying to trade crypto right now, you're absolutely nuts.
Well, but I'm going to disagree with that.
Because of that. No, you are nuts because you, in a sense, what you said, like 50% of it is wash trading. So what you're doing when you're trading crypto on exchanges a lot of times is you're going against the bot. You're going against literally a computer program that somebody set up.
Let me say
so
this.
You're not going to win against a computer, period.
Okay, so I'm going to say I disagree with that. Crypto right now, or even where it's at today, is really a good opportunity to invest your money just because of what I've seen. Look, I've been a part of it, the pros and cons, I've seen it. I've been involved in it. I've spent money and lost money. Now, I'm going to tell you, you're saying that it's a good investment. Tell me why you think this is a good investment from your opinion.
So I'm going to counter that with what other investment would you have made in the past year that has been a good investment at this point?
Well, I think people buying homes it's not a look at.
So
here's the thing. So
true enough. That's a fair point. So homes is one thing. As far as stocks, what investments in stocks that you bought last year at this time is haven't you taken a loss on just as much as crypto?
Yeah, but I think you look at, so here's my thing though, is you look at crypto as a way out of that corporate manipulation, that government manipulation.
No, it's another financial market that is controlled and run by human beings and people. Okay. And the value of it is what someone's willing to pay and what someone's willing to sell it for.
Okay.
Period. Just like a stock.
So if you
it's
have
no
the
different
ability,
than any other financial instrument right now. It may be how it's controlled at the end of what's behind. The way that a lot of it works is behind decentralization for a lot of it, but they're not really decentralized. Really? Because Bitcoin may be decentralized and Litecoin might be decentralized because there's no owners of it. There's no company that you can come back to and hold accountable for. But all these other coins, they have CEOs, they have companies, they have corporations. So if you want to shut them down, if you want to control them, if you want to impact their ability to do something or not do something, you can very much do that because you know exactly who to go to. The whole point of Bitcoin and Litecoin is there is no one person to go to. You can't go to anybody. So you can't shut it down. You can't control it because there's nobody to go after in a sense.
Okay, so
in that aspect, that's why it's valuable because it provides a financial market that can't be controlled by one entity and one person. That doesn't mean that there still aren't humans involved in it and that there still aren't humans trading it and owning it. There are. And with that is always going to come somewhat of human manipulation.
Okay, so I say this, and that's fine. If I'm investing into something though, you have to have confidence in something, right? And so what I mean with the confidence level is you can't really look at we don't say it's an asset as a house. I don't think you look at asset as a
you
as
have
crypto.
to have a final an ultimate belief behind why it's there to invest in it to weather the ups and downs, correct?
Well, yeah, but here's my argument with it is that it doesn't provide financial stability or security mentally for people because I think not everybody's going to understand wash trading. Not everybody's going to understand the behind the scenes what's going on. And then by the time that they learn about the news, like, oh, wash trading's taken out a lot of people. You see crypto going down, the crypto space, and these fat cats are making all the money. To me, it says non-stability. It shows that you don't have the confidence, or somebody who shouldn't have the confidence in something like this. And also, if you're looking at the crypto part of it, I'm looking at it going, well, if I'm investing money into this and I've lost my money, and then I find out later because of wash trading or something like this, my belief in this whole thing here is just completely gone.
Fair enough. But that's all temporary. That's all short-term thinking because everything that you said right there, you can apply to any financial instrument in any financial market. That's applied to stocks right now. For example, I think I spoke about this a couple weeks ago. There's a company that had an IPO, which is an initial public offering about 5 weeks ago called Starbucks, not Starbucks, Starbucks. They're a company in Thailand, I think, that does advertising. Mm-hmm. Their stock, since it's debuted in the past 5 weeks, has gone down 92% in 5 weeks since it came on the market. So you can apply what you're saying to anything going on financial right now, or at least things that have happened in any financial market period right now. And that's also short-term thinking. So yes, all those things are true if you're looking at from a micro level. But if you look at it from a macro level, what was Bitcoin in 2011? How much was it worth?
Yeah, but it was because...
Stop. Hold on. You made your point. You got to let me finish.
Okay, go
How
ahead.
much was Bitcoin in 2011?
You tell me.
It was about $1 or $2.
Okay.
How much is it now? $19,000. Name me another stock or another company in 10 years where its value has increased that much. So if you look at it from a macro level, it's one of the best investments you'll probably ever make.
So I think...
And that's based off of a 10-year model.
Okay, so let me say this. If you could say if you got in at the right time, I'm looking at it from a picture of if you started today. Because, you know, look, you could sit here and tell me like Brett or, you know, Dan, you can say, I think it's a great investment long term. Is it? Because
yes.
Well, let me explain. It's done nothing but decline.
It's proven that it has.
It's done nothing but decline.
Temporary.
Most people have lost money, I would say, in the crypto world, trading currency.
Depends on your time frame.
I would also say it's not regulated, which I understand there's a pro and con to that, but it's not regulated. The confidence with a lot of people, the only people that are really rewarded are the people that was in it when they started.
So if
it's like starting a company.
If you're looking to make a quick profit off your investment, then it probably won't work out for you. But the problem is not crypto. The problem is you're trying to make a quick buck off your investment. And that's not the way life works. So if you want to take a macro level, Bitcoin is probably the best investment you would have ever made. I don't care if it went from 65,000 down to 20,000. Hold on.
Maybe for the...
I remember in 2017, I bought it at like 19,500. It went to like 20,000 and went all the way back down to $3,800. So when I bought it in 2017 at 19,000 and then it went down to 3,800, was it a bad investment 2 years later when it went down to 3,800? Absolutely. But then it went up to 65,000. And now it's back down to 20,000. So what I'm saying is if you would have bought it in 2011, 2012, and I understand that most people didn't, but let that serve as a guide of a macro perspective of it. It absolutely is a great invention. It absolutely is a great investment.
I look at it as it's like a pyramid scheme. And I'm going to tell you why is because if you got into it in the very beginning, you're the one looking down, and every time somebody invests into your, you know, the amount you invested, if it was at $1 and you took, you know, $500 or even $5,000, everybody after you is really contributing to your wealth.
So that's the same thing if you bought Tesla right now.
It is.
Right.
But so here's the difference.
So anybody who bought Tesla when it was $1 or $2 or when it first came out, you could say, well, they're looking down at everybody right now and it's a pyramid scheme and blah, blah, blah. But buying Tesla right now, even right now, is not a bad investment whatsoever because you believe in the future of Tesla and what it's going to do, correct? So apply that to Bitcoin.
Yeah,
if you
but
believe
listen, Brett,
that the future of the world is going to have the point of Bitcoin is that it's permissionless, borderless payments.
Is it just Bitcoin? I mean, cryptocurrency in general. I think.
Well, 95% of cryptocurrency will go to shit. Absolutely, just like the .coms. So it's a new space that's figuring itself out. You expect to have the complete, absolute best results and answers and everything right away. That's not how it works.
So I'm going to say this. Look, I disagree, and I'll tell you is because I think there's a point of, did the stock market, has it been manipulated? Yes. Anything with money and power behind it, corporations, it's going to be manipulated. Now, I think what we were looking at with crypto in the crypto space was this was the outlier. It was the safe haven. It was the way for everybody to invest money that wasn't regulated and that wouldn't be manipulated. But it just seems like there's always a way for people to manipulate the system.
You just look at it differently because you don't understand it. Not to be rude.
Okay, explain. I've explained it to you. Explain how confidence. Explain how consumer confidence in me as an average person out there, because I'm not in there, looking at this going, okay, it's declined what, 60%? What has it declined? 60%?
But I'm not gonna have.
Hold on.
I'm not gonna give you the reasoning you want behind that because it did decline. I'm not going to sit here and defend that. But what I'm saying
has wash trading become an issue at this point?
You can't let it go on this side with all these other financial instruments, but then apply it to this side. That's not the way it works.
But you got to think.
It's
Listen,
the same
so
thing.
somebody created this algorithm or these digital currencies to not be able to be hacked or to be. You got the blockchain.
A lot of them can be hacked.
Well, listen,
they're not decentralized. Most of
they're
them
not
aren't.
decentralized. So listen, but I'm just
That's what I'm saying. You don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on, they're not decentralized. Explain that.
Decentralized. So let's put it this way: like Bitcoin is decentralized. What it essentially is a digital ledger that takes away the middleman. Right. So it keeps tracks of the payments received, outgoing, all this stuff. But now instead of having a settlement company or a bank or something like that sit there and verify, yes, this person has the money here. Yes, this person has here. Now we're going to verify it. Basically, the internet, whoever is mining it on the network. So you can go to like Ethereum network, you can go to Bitcoin network, and you can actually take part in verifying those transactions. So now,
so that's the blockchain. It's the blockchain.
But a lot of blockchains aren't decentralized. You have to understand how it's run, right? So even at the end, if you have a blockchain that's decentralized, as far as it's the network that's verifying everything.
Sure.
It's the network that's verifying the transactions. Sure. At the end of the day, a lot of these blockchains have companies that own them or CEOs that own them.
Okay.
So I don't care if the way that you're facilitating the business of it is verified by individuals all over the internet and you're not actually doing the verification for the work. The point being is if the government wants to come in and shut you down or mess with you or do whatever they want to do to ruin you, they know exactly what company and what person to go after to take away that whole blockchain.
Okay.
But if it's truly decentralized like Bitcoin or Litecoin, it's not owned by anybody. It's not owned by any company. There's nobody you can go after.
That's my
argument. See what I'm saying?
But that's my argument. My argument is that, yeah, you're saying that it's decentralized. Hold on. It's decentralized. But what I'm trying to tell you is it being that it's decentralized, it being there's a blockchain, people will still find a way to manipulate the system. And that's what I'm saying is I feel that with this wash trading, they're manipulating the system.
But what I'm saying is that happens regardless. So it's kind of like this. Is there still going to be people who own a lot of Bitcoin who can come in and absolutely. That's just called people with power and money, period. You can't take away the human element of it. As long as humans are involved in one way or another, you're going to have human elements of it. But what I'm saying is all of these things that you're saying also apply in the current financial system that we have. But that's all been done by one company, one person, one entity. That's all controlled by something that's not controlled by the people.
What is that system? Who controls all that? What's
the
the
government, the Fed, banks.
They control all that network. I'm talking about who controls
the money supply. No, the federal government,
not the money supply. What network? There's no network out there, right? That controls. It's decentralized. You're saying Bitcoin. There's no networks out there that one entity owns. Correct? Is that what you're saying to me?
No, all of them do. All the current financial systems that we have, it's owned by a company or a person.
Even Bitcoin.
No.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Except for cryptocurrency is what I'm trying to tell you. Bitcoin is not.
Okay.
Litecoin is not. Those are probably the only two that I can think of that are decentralized. And that's what I mean is you're already going to have the human element into it. No doubt. But the current financial system we have has not only the human element, but manipulation and control by one person, one company, one thing. What this does is say, Bitcoin may have the human element involved as far as someone can push it up or push it down if they own a lot of it, but nobody can come in and control the rate. Okay. Nobody can come in and control what the money supply of it's going to do.
I'll have to counter that. So you're saying it's a belief system. Okay. If I'm somebody, and just hear me out. If I'm somebody out there looking to invest, or I invested into crypto, and you have somebody, like I said, these fat cats that own a ton of crypto in that space, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these Litecoin, I don't know how good that's doing, but if you're in one of these top tier, right, crypto spaces, and you want to wash or just, invest your money, prop it up, and then sell it off, the thing is that people look at a belief system like, okay, I feel confident in it. When I invested, I didn't think, well, it's just going to go to the moon, right? I felt like it's going to take its course.
So
hold on. It's going to take its course. And then at some point, yes, we'll probably dip. But here's the thing. It's decentralized. You're stating that there's confidence behind it because it's decentralized. Well, there's 60% down for Bitcoin this year. Cryptocurrency has lost faith from a lot of people. You're looking at a lot of manipulation and things that's coming out in the news. And there was a person out that I thought was like, I think they said that part of it, I think, was insured or something. And then they just took that crypto that was going up, that cryptocurrency, that specific cryptocurrency, and they made an example, I feel like, of that person. Remember, because they basically put him out of business.
Who?
The one that you were investing into. There was a crypto. What was the name of the crypto space or the cryptocurrency that you had where the guy was? He said that he got in trouble. Basically, there was a lot of people that were trying to say that he came out and stated that half of it was insured or something where it was backed up.
Luna.
Talk about that. See, I mean, that's another example.
He's going to jail. First of all,
who was going to jail?
Quan, the CEO of it. So once again, it wasn't decentralized. It was, but there's someone you can go after. See what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is this: all that was great talk, but none of that matters. You're looking at it completely wrong. Here's the point of Bitcoin: scarcity. That's where the system that you're losing against. The way that the current monetary system is set up, and every fiat and monetary system that's ever existed has been set up, is that the whole point and the value of money is scarcity. If you can print as much of it when you want to, the scarcity, the value of it goes down. Guess why? Because you can print it anytime you want and you can create more of it whenever you want. When you can't create any more of it and it's limited what you can create, that's what keeps the value of it. That's what Bitcoin is about.
Brett, Hold on.
Bitcoin is about scarcity. There's only a fixed number amount that will ever be made. So you can have people come in and own more Bitcoin than other people and manipulate the current markets. But you know what these people cannot do? They can't create more Bitcoin that's ever going to be ever created. But they can do that with the government, with money.
Brett, let me ask you.
That's the game you're losing against.
I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying that basically cryptocurrency is not going to lose its value, right? You're saying that. How many people are actually investing? What's the percentage of Americans?
It could lose its value if people stop giving it value.
Hold on. What is the percentage of people that are actually investing into cryptocurrency? Americans. Let's just talk about Americans. Let's not talk about the country, the world.
Oh, man. I haven't checked the numbers in the last year or two, but up until the last bull run, which was a couple years ago, I think it was 5 or 6% of the world. So what percentage of Americans is probably far less than that, because to be honest with you, cryptocurrency serves third world countries far better than it does America. And that's why it's going to take off. And that's why we don't get it I'm
talking about here in America.
I would say probably 1 or 2%.
Okay.
If even.
So think about it like this. You have a system in place.
Let's say 3 or 4%.
The Keynesian system. And I'm not saying that that's the way, because you're printing money out of nothing. And, we talked about this in the nauseam. But you got to think that crypto, if it was really if people had that high of belief in it, and it was a system that was going to overtake a lot of things that goes on with the financial system, why are we still at 1 and 2%? And what are we 10 years later?
What do you mean we're still at 1 or 2%?
We're at 1 or 2% of Americans that have belief in this system, and we're 10, 15 years later from when it was introduced. And I don't feel that we've accelerated.
So let me ask you this.
People don't have the same belief, because there's been years of entrenched thought and belief in the dollar.
So you're looking at it from number one, from an American perspective, coming from the richest economy in the world, and number two, you're looking at it from a 42-year-old man. If you were 25, I wouldn't need to have this conversation with you. You get it automatically, and that's who's coming into the space. That's who's coming into our world.
How many percentage of 25-year-olds are investing into this? If you're saying it's 1 or 2%, I guarantee that the demographics between 25 to 35 is a lot higher than 1 to 2%.
The demographics of crypto, I believe it was 19 to 35-year-olds is something like 75% of people in crypto.
Exactly. So that tells you, and that's 1 to 2% of the population. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, you're looking at it going, yeah, that's 1 to 2%, and I'm sitting here going, okay, well,
You can't look at it that way.
But you can't look. Why? Why can't you look at it that way?
So that just makes you look stupid years later, because you could say that the internet. How many people use the internet when it? Hold on. How many people use the internet when it first came out?
Yeah, but crypto is not a necessity at this point. The internet was something turning into a necessity.
Listen. People didn't understand it was a necessity at first. Do you see what I'm saying? At first, it was
but you could see. Listen. Businesses can see the value.
I want to finish my conversation.
Okay,
Dan.
go ahead.
I mean, we can't continue to talk about this if I'm 2 sentences into something and you keep on interrupting. So let's just continue on the next conversation.
No, I want your opinion on it. Go ahead.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You're interested in getting your point across that is wrong. That's what you're interested in.
Go ahead.
No, you're not interested. And
I'm interested.
This is my problem with crypto. You shut it down because
I'm not shutting it down. I want to listen to it. Go ahead.
You can't handle nor deserve crypto. On to the next subject.
I want to know. Hey, last thing, and we're going to move to another topic.
I'm sorry, but you keep on beating a dead horse. How many times do I need to make a valid point and you keep on denying it?
Brett,
like, how many times does that need to happen?
But listen, common sense tells me that if there's a
common sense
mass population
says that I and everyone else in crypto is ahead of the game. And every technology that has came about has gotten better and has improved and found a way. So here's what happens. When something takes off and becomes ingrained into society, it's because it has served a common purpose or it has not, correct?
Yeah.
If it hasn't served a common purpose that doesn't benefit society as a whole, then it's not going to take hold and ever become popular, correct? So crypto does have a long ways to go in a sense of use case purposes and all these things. But the technology behind it, and more importantly, you can't apply Bitcoin and Litecoin along with all of these other cryptocurrencies because they're completely different games. They're completely different purposes. So with a lot of these other coins, it's basically an idea of technology that somebody wants to do, but you're in a sense trading that idea. Bitcoin's not just longer an idea, it's a belief system.
I understand, man, and that's what I'm trying to go at you with, man. You're not giving me enough data that says listen, you're saying because it's at its infancy stages.
It's decentralized and nobody can control it. And let me give you an example. You're in Afghanistan, and for the past 20 years you've been living, going to school, all these things, getting educated, and all of a sudden the Taliban starts moving back in. And you're like, I need to get the hell out of Dodge. I don't want to be in Afghanistan anymore because of who's coming in. So you decide to leave. What are you going to do? You're going to take your suitcases full of Afghan money and walk border to border to border in your suitcases of a currency that's not even worth anything in the next border you cross over? Or you can own Bitcoin and have that on your phone, which is in your back pocket, and it's worth the same in Switzerland as it is in Australia, as it is in China, as it is in America. It's worth exactly the same. How is that not beneficial to humanity?
Listen, I'm going to say this.
And it can't be controlled by any government or any person or any company. How is that not beneficial, Dan?
Because you're still seeing manipulation, Brett, and that's all I'm trying to say.
You mean the same manipulation that's applied to every financial market that exists right now?
You can't compare that, though, because
You're right, you can't compare. Bitcoin's far better.
No, you're trying to use crypto as a way out of that system or out of that type of...
it's a part of the system. I didn't say
that.
Completely bail on the other one. I'm saying it plays its part,
dude,
for the reasons that I mentioned.
People don't believe in the stock market. They don't believe in a lot of the
Then you're talking about a belief system. I'm not here to have a conversation about switching your belief system, buddy. I'm here to talk to you about the benefits and why I believe in it.
If I'm out there looking to invest into crypto...
Do you believe in God? Do you not believe in God? Is there anything that I'm going to say that convince your mind otherwise?
Let me explain this, though.
It's the same thing. I'm not here to have those conversations.
Everything has to have confidence in a belief system in it for it to work. In the masses, right? And what I'm saying is you're not giving me enough data.
We'll get there.
And I'm not getting enough information that says I'm believing in the crypto space.
There's a whole generation younger than you that gets it and believes in it.
No, listen, I could see the idea of it and I see the value of it. I also see
But you just said you don't understand why it's there.
This is not bulletproof. And again, the data that's out, I don't believe in it.
Nothing is bulletproof because it's run by humans, Dan. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? It's like you're setting me up with an impossible scenario. Anything run by humans is going to be flawed, dude.
All right,
That's called humans.
Let's agree to disagree. We're going to move on to the next topic. So the next topic I want to talk about.
Though, man.
Yeah, it was great. Global signals.
Need a damn beer.
Right? Global signals right now of inflation are stagnant, and this is not what the Fed wanted. Businesses right now are slowing down slightly, right? The index has come out, and one of the index, composite output PMI index, came out, which is a measure of business activity, came in at 44. It's up from 44%, so meaning that the activity levels are increasing, or slowing down, excuse me.
What is?
So the activity levels amongst businesses, it's the composite output PMI index. So it does say that what the Fed is doing is working, but there's some stagnation data out there, and I feel that the inflation numbers are still high. They raised the Fed's fund rate 75 basis points this week. They're going to continue to raise this Fed's fund rate. They have a game plan that later this November, December, even into February, they're going to raise it 75 basis points, 50, and then possibly a quarter going into 2023, the first quarter. So, a lot of information out there about what's happening with inflation. Now, there's nothing you can tell me, though, about inflation that's good for anything or any business. I mean, what are your thoughts on this inflation issue that seems like it's not getting corrected, and we're not really going down that road fast enough for the Fed to get down to that margin of 2%? What are your thoughts on inflation? Do you feel like this is obviously it's a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think? I mean,
first of all, explain to people what's stagflation.
Well, stagflation.
Because even Jamin Dimon's come out and said that's what's going to be a killer is stagflation if we have it. That's why I say that. So,
well, stagflation is when the costs of things keep going up, but you look at businesses and the economy stays the same, really.
Yeah.
And it just keeps
so
going.
their profit stalls.
Their profit
cost
stalls.
goes up, but their profit stalls.
So listen, though, beyond stagflation, let's kind of go back to this. Do you feel that this inflation issue will be corrected? And is it actually good? Is there any good out of it for the economy?
Yes, it's good.
Why?
People are probably screaming at me right now.
It's good?
It's good because it needs to happen. So is it a good thing that happens in life? No. I mean, obviously, things becoming more unaffordable is not a good thing in life. Okay, so no shit. But it's something where people need to understand that what the federal government's trying to, or what the feds are trying to do right now is they're trying to basically take away some of the money supply, right? And you do that by form of bonds and all those things. So the last 2 years, the government has printed 80% of all the money we've ever printed as a country in the last 2 years, 80%. So when and this is kind of what I'm talking about back with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, which is the scarcity of it. Our government can just come in and print as much money and create as much money on a whim whenever they feel like it. But so when you do that, you're injecting too much like fake money that's not backed by anything in a sense into the economy. And that can only happen for so long before you need to bring things back down to size and you need to bring them back in. Why? Because you can't have things continue on that way. And that's what they're doing. There's no better way to do it than to do the way they're doing it, which is I'm not going to ask you, we need the money supply to retract, so we're just going to force your hand on it. And that's what they're doing. They're correcting their mistakes that they made.
Yeah, but these mistakes are kicking that can
down the road. They're making a mistake by the way they're doing it too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying that's what they're simply trying to do, which is correct the mistake that they made. They shouldn't have given and even if they said, well, we didn't know what was going to happen with Corona, we needed to inject some money. They knew last year at this time that we were going to be good to go on things. And they kept it going still. That's where they effed up, in my opinion.
Well, so I see where you're kind of going with this. You're saying that it's inevitable that they had to do this to correct the inflation problem that was created by them. Mm-hmm. And I get that. Now, I can't see in any business or any situation inflation's a good for any economy. Well,
it's not. But it's for our own good. But most things that are for our own good aren't fun.
How is it for our own good, though? Like that tells me like you need to take a spoonful in the morning of inflation, and you're going to be okay for the day.
So here's the way I look at it, right? Say I want to be a doctor, and I'm 50 years old at this point, and I've been a doctor for 20 years, and I have my own practice, and man, I'm to the point where I just got to like show up, stick in 5-minute appointments, maybe 5 or 6 a day, but I own 4 of these facilities, these surgical facilities, and I'm making all this money, and I'm working literally an eighth of what I used to, and I'm making 10 times more money than I ever have, right? Well, there was a ton of work, med school, residency, hours of being a doctor, money risk, all these things stuck into leading up to that. So I think we can both agree that to get to that final point, you needed to grind, you need to work hard, you need to pay dues, and probably most of that stuff was not fun. But it was a necessity to happen to get to that point, correct? So going through the actual process of paying your dues, yes, it is not fun and it sucks. But it's all for an end goal, correct? Well, so if you can apply that reasoning with how you move up in your life and move up in a career, apply that with like right now with the economy of what we need to do. You know, you can't just give off, in a sense, a bunch of free money and just say, here you go, everybody, and expect that not to go somewhere, right?
So the Fed, to me, is forcing these Americans to save money.
Yes.
And they're forcing Americans to say, and really it's manipulation, as you know.
Yes.
But I also say, you know, if you're running a business...
Wait, hold on. You just said everything about against crypto. You just said that they're manipulating it and that they're controlling it.
That's why I disagree with it. Because it's the same... it's the same...
But that's what I'm saying. That's what our government does right now. That's what Bitcoin fixes.
Well, what I'm saying... I don't want to go back to crypto, and that's a different topic. But what I'm saying is inflation, yeah, you can compare it, but you have a direct government and how they're raising the cost of short-term bonds, everyday costs to every consumer out there. And if you're not increasing in wages, I mean, at some point it's forcing your hand to either say, yeah, you're going to save money.
Yeah.
But what if you have no extra money and you're getting paycheck to paycheck and you get into that position? Is it just another casualty? Because they want to continue to raise the costs of things when they are the ones that artificially brought the cost down, especially in the housing market?
Welcome to our government. That's
so.
You're proving my point even more on things.
How is that good then? You're saying it's good.
It's not good.
Okay, so you agree with me then?
So, first of all, let me precede it with this. To begin with, it was manipulation. First and foremost, it was manipulation by our government. We were printing a bunch of money that was essentially backed by nothing. Just because we could, and we don't have anybody else in the world to call us out on it because we have the strongest economy that the world looks at, right? But regardless, it was manipulation. So what we're doing now, it's good in a sense of we are correcting the manipulation that was had on us in the first place.
Right.
So that's why it's good, is it's not fun to go through and it's not good to go through, but it's a necessity. It's good in a sense that we are correcting a mistake that shouldn't have happened in the first place. We are correcting the manipulation. That's where it's good.
Yeah, but I feel inflation feeds on inflation if it's high.
It does.
It does, and that's the that's the problem. So
yeah,
it's dude,
it's going to get worse before it gets better, I think.
Well, and this is really going to affect the I would say the real, like I said, paycheck to paycheck, the poor community, the people that don't have a lot of assets.
Those are the people that always get screwed anyways, Dan. They do.
Yeah, but you got to have...
So you ask those people what problem they have against Bitcoin, and they say none. if you've been the class that's always been screwed over, like, first of all, part of you's got to be like, what the hell do I have to lose? The system is already screwing me, right? So anyways.
Well, we're in a situation right now where I think we're on the cusp of possibly going to a recession, and a lot of it is because of...
What do you mean think?
Well, let me explain. Hold on. We're not there yet. I mean,
we are.
No, listen. Eyeball test says to me we are, right? We're close or we're there. But we still have unemployment or employment that's very low. And the Fed is targeting 3.8%. And they're saying that it's going to increase the unemployment. Now, when you have people working, they still have confidence that they're going to go out and make a paycheck and be able to pay their bills. But when you see businesses, higher costs for businesses, and they're laying people off, I think that's when you're really going to see the effects of we're in a real recession. And that is the effects of higher inflation and continuous higher inflation and inflation eating itself. So I feel that's where we're headed. I don't feel like we're there yet, but I
feel it's ironic that the recession we had for the housing crisis in 07, 08 was basically caused by consumers. right? And the recession this time is caused by the feds.
I don't know when it's ever been
Not
the consumers.
Not
Brett.
caused by the consumers, but the consumers had an equal hand in it. So you had banks that were giving out loans that should have never been given out. Don't get me wrong.
I disagree with that completely.
Banks weren't giving out loans they shouldn't have given out.
Listen, that's completely wrong. It's like a bartender. If I'm given a drink and you're a banking loan officer or something, and you give that drink, and that person goes and gets in an accident, who's to blame for that? So that's the company for offering. Dude,
don't get me
drink.
wrong. I'm not blaming lenders or anything.
What
I'm saying is the laws were in place and led up to loosening up lending laws. So if you're gonna allow someone to be able to lend a certain product, they're going to, as long as you allow them to. So I'm not blaming. I'm just saying that it's ironic that the banks and but at the same point, consumers knew they were taking out loans that they couldn't afford, or they thought whatever it was. Well, it doesn't matter. But either way, I find it ironic that the first time around, it was basically banks and consumers that caused it. And now this time, it wasn't the banks and consumers. It was literally the Federal Reserve. Like, they did it to themselves. They created a bunch of money backed by absolutely nothing and just flooded the market with it. It's like when the housing prices went down in 07, 08, because the market was absolutely inundated and flooded by foreclosures. So it's the same thing, right?
Listen, it doesn't. Okay, so you're taking this on a tangent.
And then what happened? You had to retract
what happened
that.
in 2007, 8. What I'm saying is this.
I'm saying it's ironic. Well, they're completely different. Don't get me wrong. The scenarios.
But let me say this. So the financial sector of a basket of goods and services, and the currency that it costs to get those services and the goods and services that they have, that is inflated tremendously across the board, not just for America, but across all countries. And what I'm saying is that you're not going to be able to survive if they keep, like, if you see this raised another 3 times, you're going to see an economy that people are still spending now. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens if they keep doing this until the first quarter of 2023, because inflation is already considerably high. Core CPI is considerably high. It hasn't gone down that much. People are still working. And I think if people don't stop working, then you're going to continue to see the Fed trying to do something with the inflation problem. But I mean, look, man, they're trying to take money off their books, right? All of those artificial bonds that they built.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I mean, there's a lot of things. But to the average buyer out there, I don't see how this is actually good in any way and any business for inflation, because all it's going to do is slow your business down, your thought process. Good luck if you're a business out there putting a business plan together and saying, hey, man, I want to make X amount of money this year.
It's not good for the consumer.
Or businesses, but what I'm telling you economy, is,
so it's not good for the consumer, GDP. But it's a necessity, because if it doesn't happen, it's only going to get worse. And so temporarily, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But big picture wise, if it didn't happen, it would continue to get far worse and worse and worse and worse.
So my question to you is this: So
it's not good, but it's prices that need to be paid.
Okay, so why would the Fed not just come out and say we're raising it 5 points on the Fed's fund rate? Why is it always just 70? And this is why you can say, well, this is what they're trying to correct. Why are they doing it in increments? Why is it a stepping stone to ultimately get to a position? That's where my argument is at.
Because do you know how human mind works? It's the same thing with like legalization of drugs. You can't just come out and say, hey, everyone, we're legalizing heroin. You start out by saying, well, maybe we should make marijuana legal for medical purposes. Then, now it's legal for medical purposes. Maybe we should make it legal for everybody. And then you look around and it passes and everyone's fine and no one died and da-da-da. Okay, now we can, and now you're starting to see in Oregon in some places are legalizing mushrooms.
So you're saying they're doing this for a soft landing mentally for Americans out there?
Because
that's what you're saying. They're coming in.
It's like right now, right? I mean, how many of us have kind of in the back of our mind been like, dude, there's aliens out there? But the government
aliens out there.
Yeah, but now they finally came out after years. Like, if they just came out and like, hey, dude, there's aliens, or hey, there's what? Like, we can't mentally handle it. That's the way that humans work. So they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to strategically do it.
Okay, so here, I look at it like this: you get hurt in life, right? Let's say you're out there and you're playing around, you get hurt, mm-hmm. you get cut on your arm. Would you rather just rip the Band-Aid off, though? And I think that's the concept is, I don't know why.
That sounds good in theory, Dan,
Well, listen,
but reality is people will freak out. And second of all, I'm not the Fed. Talk to them. I mean, they've already done things that I disagree with. So, I mean, nothing that they're really doing I agree with. I'm just saying this is what they're doing.
So I'm going to say this. Look, I mean, we can agree to disagree. I feel like
We're not disagreeing.
Well, we are, because I don't feel like anytime their inflation goes up that it actually is good. You're saying that, well, in this instance, it's good because it's necessary.
It's not good,
well, listen,
but it's necessity.
You're saying in this situation, I don't think it's ever a necessity, though. And that's what I'm trying to say. You don't raise
So in this scenario that
tame inflation.
Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to be reactionary. What we're trying to do now is react to something that's already happened. So given the position that we're in, I'm not talking about if you could go back and correct the first action, okay? I'm talking about being in the position that we're in now with the with how you react. What would you suggest we do then, Dan, to make it better?
I would say this. I would say that if it's me, you just do it all at once, right? You don't just do increments one. And yes, it's going to be detrimental.
So how's that a good thing, Dan?
I'll tell you why.
To raise interest rates.
Hold on.
That's a bad thing.
Hold on. Because ultimately they're going to get there either way, right?
Correct.
Ultimately, right? So my thing is that.
So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, let me explain. If you're going to go this route, you're asking me what should they do. If they're going to go this route, I'm saying go all in and do it all at once and just get it off the.
Well, here's the thing. I
books, if you wanna
100%
say.
agree with you.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say, which is big picture, we agree with the same thing. Now, temporarily, dude, I'm not saying it's fun. In that sense, it's not good because it's something sucky that people have to go through.
And so what do you
But
say?
what I'm telling
Yeah.
you is, well, it's the same thing. Like if I want to play varsity football, all those hours I put in the gym lifting weights, that sucks. That's not fun. That's not good. But ultimately, I got to the point where I was big enough to play varsity ball and get out on the field. That is good because it was all working towards a goal. So to actually put in work and sacrifices for things is not fun. That's the way life works. But I'm
Yeah,
saying,
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? Given the
But
scenario,
I'm going to say this.
there is no just all good. There's not.
I'm going to say this though. When you ask me what should they do about the inflation issue, well, I don't think you put an economy in a position where. Here's the problem: is we're creating money to help countries, which is fine. I understand the whole thing, but it's money we don't have. You have to sever that, and I think what you're saying is well. We're going to have problems, right?
But that has nothing to do with what we're disagreeing or agreeing with this right now.
Because the consistent problem we have is there's a balancing act, and the Fed knows how to somewhat manipulate that balancing act. And what the problem is that they artificially had, the rates down, cost of living was down, a lot of reasons for that. And now when you see the inflation coming up, now they're trying to scramble to bring it down. You got to identify those issues and not put yourself back in those issues. And I feel that we're now so far into a cycle because of what you said. Mm-hmm. It's now just how do you survive at this point? There's no, because look, if you didn't save money or if you don't have money or you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have to almost save money now to hedge against when the Fed or inflation occurs in society.
We agree. 100. That's what I'm saying. We agree on it, and we also agree on the aspect of it. Is we should just rip that damn Band-Aid off and just get it over with. I'm all for that too, man. I don't want to delay anything, but regardless, that's what I'm trying to say, which is given the scenario that we're presently in, I'm not talking about if you could go back and redo. There's a bunch of things they should have done differently so that this situation we're not in, but we can't do anything about that, right? All I can do is deal with the situation that's present in front of me. And part of that scenario in front of me is bad.
If you guys out there, you guys have any questions about what Brett and I have been talking about, please leave them in the comment section. If you guys have any additional input, Brett says there's a necessity. Unfortunately, he doesn't agree with the inflation, but he says there's a necessity to have higher inflation to combat inflation. I just look at it and say inflation's just not good altogether. I also want to move over here. We're going to do a quick market update, and Brett, you can talk about it, but I'm going to talk about this here just for a second. So what we see over here is we're seeing that we're still at 450, right? We're still in financing real estate. So we're just going to give you a quick synopsis of what's happening here. The average median price home for a single family residence home is still sitting at around 450. If you want to look at all property types, you're at 410. So we're going to go back to single family residence. New listings is down. Also closed sales is down, right? And so we're looking at that. Month supply, though, you can see this is consistently increasing. 3.3 months. We were at 3.2. So it's slowly going up. Again, there's not much news on this, guys, as far as this goes. Days on the market
kind of hanging out right now, isn't it?
Hanging out, and you bring up what you were. Bring up this last thing before we end the show about this billboard that you saw when you were driving in here.
Oh,
talk about that,
dude! It summed it up perfectly, dude, and it made me chuckle. I should have took a picture of it. It summed it up perfectly. So I live in Summerlin, and we do the show here in Henderson, right? So I'm driving here this morning, and where was I off like 215 and maybe Sunset, Rainbow? I don't know. Anyways, I look over and there's a billboard by D.R. Horton and it says, "Ready when you are." I'm like, dude, that sums it up to a T. Like all of us realtors, we're like sitting there, we're like, and everybody is like, you can see that they're starting to dip their feet a little bit in the water, but everyone's still just kind of sitting here. Like, waiting. And I have probably, no shit, Dan, probably 10 to 12 buyers right now that are all between like January and February next year. They're ready to go. But they're literally, that just is like the theme of the market right now, which is ready when you are. Like, and that's the builders. Like, we're lowering prices, we're offering incentives, and everyone's just kind of like, okay, guys, whenever you want to buy, we're ready.
Isn't it interesting how the tables have turned with these builders?
Dude, it was funny. I'm like, dude, whoever came up with that billboard is...
Dude, I was at a builder yesterday, and the builder, like, rolled the red carpet in for me. Nobody was in his office.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the builders.
Isn't it crazy the treatment we get now walking in the door compared to 6 months ago?
And I'm like, before I would go in there and be like, okay, do you have an appointment? Are you coming in here? Now it's like I'm going to look at some of these properties.
Yeah, but buyers think that, oh, I've got builders. I'm like, believe me, us realtors, we're on your side with that, man, because we were walking in the door 6 months ago and they wouldn't even acknowledge us.
Absolutely.
And let alone pay us commission or anything. And now, yeah, I mean, believe me, we're all for the builders coming down, man.
What that builder should have said is, we're here when you're ready, 2025.
Yeah, but it's just funny. It's like, ready when you are. Like, that was...
All right, you guys know this is the most real and behind-the-scenes information, financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs happening here in Las Vegas. This is the French Workbench Podcast. Please like the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you guys have any comments about anything we've talked about in the show, please leave them in the comment section. Brett, you have any last words, buddy?
I would say anybody who has any questions about crypto or wants to know the basics, or even if you have a sensible argument, it can't just be like, oh, well, I think it's a scam and then it's just an accusation or something. Message me, Vegas Crypto Agent on Instagram, or I'm sure you can give them my cell phone number, whatever it is, but just message me. I love having conversations about this. I love discussing this. And I'm here to try to educate as many people as I can so that people actually know what the hell they're talking about. So that's what I would have to say.
I want to say this too, guys. We're not economists. We're not experts in any field we talk about, but I think
I'm just opinionated.
Well, we are. And the thing is too, is that we do a lot of research and we do follow a lot of data, right? And over that data, I think it just obviously builds confidence and lets you guys know what we see out there, and we give you our opinion. So if you guys, like I said, if you have any questions on anything going on in the show today, please let us know. Like the channel, subscribe. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LB Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there, a lot of good information, and you can find us on audio-only options through Sound.